Hello, my name's Anne Ingram, and I'd like to read your chapter for my latest book, Bonjour Lucy Bee. 13-year-old Lucy goes to France for a family reunion, but she soon finds herself unexpectedly having to care for a very ill young Afghan refugee, and this leads her into having quite an adventure. I'm going to read you chapter 2. It's the day after Lucy and her mother have arrived in France, and they're staying with Lucy's aunt at a small hotel. When we went downstairs, the house was quiet, the dining room empty, the guests having had their breakfasts and gone out for the day. Sylvie and Jean-Luc had left for school. Tante poured us both a cup of coffee, making mine mostly milk. It was the first time I'd had coffee, and it tasted bitter. The croissants were yummy though. I had 2 with black cherry jam. Did you phone Nana Kate last night to see how Gamma is? I asked Mum. I tried, but just got the answer phone, Mum said. I left a message. Perhaps we'll hear something today. Tante nodded. And today I show you the village. You can see the chateau. I thought of Megan, my best friend at home. How she'd love to see a real French chateau. She'd be green with envy. Tante and Mum took ages to finish breakfast. Actually, they'd finished eating, they were just talking endlessly. So I left them to it, thinking I'd go and have a look at the canal and the boats I'd seen from my window last night. Through the open door, a movement through the trees caught my eye. I ran across the grass through the trees to the bank, just in time to see a large barge casting off. A villa was painted alongside the side in white. A skinny man in shorts and grubby white vest was rolling up a rope at the stern. He had a ponytail. I waved. He glared at me, then turned and stepped into the wheelhouse. Be like that then, I said. We walked to the village along a pathway that ran alongside the blind house. Who lives there? I asked. Raoul. He is brocanteur. He sells all things. Antiques, Mum said. Oui, but now he stay above his shop in the village. The house, it is closed. It sure was. Every single window was shuttered up tight as though it was hiding something. The village was busy with cars edging their way through narrow streets and people dodging traffic. Everyone knew Tante and stopped to say, Bonjour, madame. When Tante introduced Mum and me, we started saying bonjour too. But then people replied to us in French, and we couldn't understand them. Only a few spoke English. Madame d'Aubigny, Sylvie's ballet teacher, was one. No wonder I thought Sylvie looked like a ballet dancer. She was a ballet dancer. Sylvie is a very good pupil, Madame told us. She moved delicate, like a fairy, and she is strong also. But peut-être more practice est nécessaire. I couldn't take my eyes off Madame d'Aubigny's painted face, with her bright blue eyeshadow and red lipstick leaking into wrinkles around her mouth. The shops were small and full of people. A queue came right out the door at La Boulangerie. Through the window I could see baskets of bread and trays of pastries. The smell was amazing. My stomach was rumbling and we'd only just had breakfast. As we climbed up the slope, past tubs overflowing with flowers, church bells chimed. We had to step down into the cobbled road to get past a cafe that had tables all over the footpath. Ahead, at the top of the road, were a pair of huge black wrought iron gates with gold scrolls along the top. Our Chateau, très béni, Tante said. The village, it grow around it, so it have le nom très béni also. A tourist bus ground its way past us up the hill, stopping by the gate. Passengers poured out. Can we go inside the chateau? I asked. Of course, Tante said. Demain, tomorrow. Today we look only. Once we'd passed through the gates, I could see a castle. It had a moat. A bridge across it led through a tall gatehouse into a large square courtyard in front of the chateau. "It's lovely," I breathed, "like something out of a fairy tale." Turrets, towers, and tall chimneys rose up from sloping grey roofs, and peaked windows, like heads with caps on, peered down from the attic. The chateau was a peachy yellow, with rows of tall windows running along each side of the huge entranceway. Already tourists from the buses were walking up the front staircase. Suddenly, a man burst out of the door, his hands raised, palms facing outwards as if to say, "Stop where you are." I watched tourists halt halfway up the steps. The man waved his arms about, explaining something. Shaking their heads in a disgruntled way, the tourists marched back to the ticket office and began queuing up outside. "Perhaps they didn't know how they had to buy tickets," Mum said. "They might be getting refunds." I pointed to the man moving barrier fences behind the gatehouse, shutting off access to the chateau. A black car careened out of a side entrance, tooting non-stop. A young woman leapt out and waved us back. She nodded at Tante, clearly recognizing her. "Bonjour, Marie," Tante called. "Quel est le problème?" The woman spoke urgently, rapidly, but even I got that there was some kind of emergency and we had to leave. Reluctantly, I followed Mum and Tante back towards the gates, the tourists trailing behind us. We'd no sooner gone through the gates when an ear-splitting blaring filled the air. A police car drove at speed through the entrance and up to the gatehouse. Then another blaring siren, another police car. This one screeched to a halt beside us. 2 officers jumped out and pulled metal barriers and signage from the car, setting it up outside the gate. "Accès interdit," they said. People were jostling all around me, French people from nearby shops and cafes, talking and pointing. The policeman by the gate came over and began to question some of them. There was a lot of arm waving going on, and everyone spoke so fast it seemed like gabble. "Some personnes, they break into the chateau," Tante whispered as we walked past. "Did they take anything?" I asked. Then when I saw she didn't understand, said, "Steal anything?" Tante looked anxious, as though it was her house that had been broken into. "I think, yes," she said. "Come, we go to meet Sylvie." Down the hill a little way we turned left into a square, and there was Sylvie's school. Above the door was a sign, "École," and above that a red, blue and white flag, the French flag. "We are early. Let us sit," Tante said, leading us to a stone bench outside the church opposite. The front of the church above the door and all down the sides was covered in carved stone figures. Angels, people and animals. They were amazing, so lifelike. A bell sounded, and around the side of the school rushed a swarm of kids. A few looked to be about my age, but most were younger. They were all going home for lunch, Tante told us. Sylvie danced over to us, smiling. "Bonjour!" She kissed her mother and then Mum and me. It was both cheeks again. When I told her what we'd seen at the chateau, she looked confused, twisting the loose strands of hair around her face. Tante explained in French what had happened and then turned to Mum and me. "Peut-être cet après-midi, this afternoon, we know more." Back at la Maison du Canal, Nina, the lady who helped Tante clean the guest rooms, had lunch ready for us. I'd never seen anyone with hair dyed pink before, but it seemed to suit her bright, cheery nature. "Concombre," she said, putting down a bowl of cold soup in front of me. After this, she brought in some fish with peas and a green vegetable I didn't recognize. This was more than enough, but then came a plate of cheeses, followed by a strawberry tart. "Maintenant, repos, a rest," Tante said, getting up and beginning to clear the table. Sylvie groaned. "What's the matter?" I asked. "I not want to return to school," she said, pulling a face. "1 week only," Tante said. then les vacances, holidays. Sylvie sighed. 1 week. C'est long. She looked at me, grabbed my hand. Venez, come. We ran up the stairs to her room on the top floor. I saw at once how tidy it was, not a bit like my messy room at home. It was pretty too, with pink and white patterned curtains and patchwork quilts on the beds. On a white chest of drawers were little figurines, ballet dancers. I sat on the chair by her desk while she handed each of them to me in turn. One of the dancers was in a snow globe. Another was mounted on a music box and pirouetted while music played. Your name, Sylvie said. Celeste, c'est Lucy Bee. Maman, c'est Lucy. What is it really? I laughed. Both. My friends at home call me Lucy Bee. I got the name on my first day at school because there were 2 Lucys in the class. My surname, Sylvie looked puzzled. Surname means family name, I explained. Yours is Parmentier. Mine is Bennett, so I got called Lucy Bee after the letter B for Bennett. My best friend Megan made it Lucy Bee. So at school, I've been Lucy Bee ever since. Sometimes my family calls me Lucy Bee too. Gamma does. She must have told Celeste. A smile spread across Sylvie's face. Can you walk to school with me, Lucy Bee? Sure, I'll just tell Mum. Now, if you'd like to know more about Lucy Bee and her adventures, you can go to my website, anneingram.com, and if you'd like to read the first chapter of this book, you can go to my publisher's website, which is OneTreehouse.com. And if you are a very keen young writer and looking to get some writing done, you can look at some activities I've got there for young writers. And as well, you can download some teacher's notes. So there are a few ways to learn a bit more about Lucy Bee. Thank you for listening.